on having positive thoughts in your mind. In case you have any negative thought, push it back and replace that with a positive thought. Because if you continue taking over the negative thought over and over and again, you are not growing yourself. What you are doing is that you are giving yourself those negative thoughts, and there are those negative thoughts that are going to show up in how you behave to other people around. So if you want to be this leveled up lady or this leveled up man, you need to start by thinking about your thoughts. What are you feeding your mind? Hello, family. Welcome yet to another episode of Your Purpose with Edda YouTube channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, if it is your first time here, welcome. In this platform, we have all conversations in relation to the two P's. And the two P's, if you've been around for long, you know that it means purpose and personal development, and how these two can actually be intertwined. And that is why we are all here. Glad that you're joining us for the first time. I'm sure you will love it here, and we are glad to have you, and we are glad to have you in our community. And if it's not your first time here as well, welcome back again to yet another episode. And today we are going to have a very interesting conversation, a conversation that I really love. And that is really the essence of Your Purpose with Edda, because I thought, okay, we need to have all these conversations about personal development. But what does really personal development mean to us? And that is why we need to have this conversation. So, today, what we are going to talk about is the different areas of our lives and how we can know that we are aligned. And in the different areas of our lives, I am going to talk about the 5 pillars. For sure, you know, definitely for the 5 pillars, we are talking about financial alignment. Secondly, we are talking about spiritual alignment. Thirdly, we are talking about physical alignment. Fourthly, we are talking about social alignment. And fifth, we are talking about a mental and emotional alignment. So these are the 5 pillars that we are going to talk about today. And we want to see, how do I know that I am actually aligned physically? Or how do I know that I am aligned mentally? Because you realize that most of the time you get that you are just moving, you are just doing things. Maybe you have arrived. Okay, nobody ever arrives, but maybe you have arrived. Maybe you need to start working on something else more and not focus on this other thing more, because you have already gotten the rhythm of how your life moves. And that is why we need to talk about, how do I really get to know that I am aligned in this area of my life? And first, let's begin. So, we are going to start with physical alignment. Physical alignment is not just about going to the gym or taking a walk or ensuring that your abs and even the aesthetics are all good, but physical alignment is trying to understand how your body is. It's having questions like, how is my body really feeling? Because most of the time you find that you go to the gym consistently and you forget to check into your body, because the going to the gym is a consistent thing that you are doing. So that is really part of who you are. So it's a matter of asking yourself, am I supporting my body at this time? Am I really meeting myself where I am at this time? And that is a question that I always ask myself each and every time. How do I want to support my body more, and how can I support it at this point? Because sometimes you find that work is stressful, or you find that life is just living and there are so many things, and you realize that you don't, maybe you forget to go to the gym, because now self-care becomes like another thing that you have to take care about, and now you feel like you don't want to really have it stressing you. But it's a matter of asking, is it really important to me right now, and am I meeting my body where I am at right now? So how will you know that you are actually in alignment? Is asking yourself those questions. Are you meeting yourself where you are? The other thing that you will definitely know that you are in alignment is by how your movement is. If you're normally used to go to the gym, going to the gym is one thing, that might tell you that you are in alignment. If in terms of hydration, how is your hydration? The other thing is your nutrition. What foods are you taking into your body? And also something else that is also very important. How am I dressing my body? That is also part of our physical alignment, because physical is ourselves and what people can actually see. And dressing up is one other thing that is very important. Like, have you ever realized that when you are not feeling okay, you just want to put on something, and compared to a time when you are feeling comfortable, you are feeling confident, you want to put on some makeup, you want to put on some lipstick, and those are two different things. And that shows you that you can actually get to know when you are aligned and when you're not aligned. So look at how you are hydrating, how you are moving, what you are putting in your body in terms of nutrition, how you are dressing up, how you are showing up. And something else that I've really came to understand is that our bodies speak to us. So sometimes you find that you are sluggish, or you just feel tired, or you wake up tired, or you just every time everything something really comes to your nerve, and you realize that your body is literally communicating something. You need to check on yourself, what is really wrong with my body at this point, because this is not my normal. And in the Bible, it says that the word was made flesh and dwelt among us. What does that mean? The word was made flesh. So if there is word here and this is your physical body, so it means that this word here was made flesh, and which becomes now your physical body. So if your physical body is communicating something by showing you that either you have headaches or you are being sluggish, there is something there that you need to know, and you need to find what that thing is, because it means that you are not in alignment with your physical self. So check out that. On to number two. Number two, we are going to talk about social alignment. So social, what is really social alignment? We are talking about our romantic relationships. We are talking about our platonic relationships. And it's not just about going outside or who you're going to meet, but it's a matter of understanding what kind of energies am I going to get when I go outside. When you're talking about social alignment, it does not mean that you just go out and meet different people. No, it's about who am I really going to meet. If somebody has invited you to an event or to a party, you need to ask yourself, who is in those specific spheres that is going to feed into my energy, and that I'm going to feed into their energy. Because for sure, energies move around, and you find that you are either feeling drained, or you are feeling that you have been fueled up. I don't know if you've ever gone to a place and you leave that place feeling that you have been really fueled up so much that you want to continue that conversation with those people. It's because your energies match and you feel comfortable in that specific space. And those are the kind of people that you want to continue associating more with, because they are feeding into your energy and you are feeling positively about it. But compared to another different place where you go to an event and you feel that your energy is drained, it's drained. That is a sign that you do not need to be associating with those people. So the next time there is an event that you need to reserve and it is the same people, you just need to draw your boundaries and just say that these are not people that I am socially aligned with. And it's important that we actually get to know whether we are aligned. So what does social alignment looks like? Social alignment looks like having people in your circle who your values are aligned, who you are talking about growth, and thirdly, you are telling about you're telling to each other truth, because you also don't want to be in an environment where people are just lying to you or just gaslighting you or hyping you up, and literally you are not doing the right thing. So we need people in our circle who are truthful and telling us the truth about ourselves. So you need to check about the values. Are the people around you having the same values as you? Are you talking about growth, and are you telling each other the truth? That is something else that you need to look at. And thirdly, what we are going to talk about is emotional alignment. Emotional alignment. We are talking about emotional alignment in terms of our feelings. This is the point where you cannot lie to anybody else. You cannot lie to yourself. You cannot lie to yourself. It's about how you are feeling at a certain time and what you are feeling. So we need to look at our emotions. For me, how I normally do it, I just sit down and just sit still. How many are you comfortable? How many people are comfortable doing that? We need to be comfortable to just sit down with our emotions and feel them, because emotions are meant to be felt. And also, if you do not feel your emotions, it means that you are operating from another different person's emotions. And often, most times, it is going to actually end up into resentment. And that is not what we want here. We want to be to feel our emotions, and we want to feel them as we feel them, and we want to express it out to other people as we are feeling them. So emotional alignment looks like sitting still with your emotions and being able to write down how you are feeling. Name your emotions, because most times, if you do not know how to name your emotions, the next time you are going to react, and you are going to react as a baby by throwing a tantrum, and it's not because you were not able to tell exactly, but it's because you were not able to name that specific emotion that you are feeling. And naming your emotions leads you to healing, uh, over and above hiding, because you want to be at a place where you are comfortable with your emotions, you are comfortable expressing how you feel at a specific time. So most of the time is that you can't really live your purpose without feeling your emotions. Because when you bring about the physical element, the the emotional element, we feel it in our body, and then we feel it in our body, but our bodies are linked to our emotional selves. And that is why when you're talking about intuition, it's very easy to say, I don't feel like going to that specific party. I don't feel like going to that specific conference. And it's because my intuition is not comfortable with those people. So once you understand your emotions, how you feel, and name them and just express them to people, communication becomes easy, and you get to have that deep connection with yourself, such that the next time you feel a certain way, you know you're not supposed to act. So it's very important to actually get to know how we are feeling as individuals and be truthful to ourselves, because also, if we are to grow into our purpose cannot thrive in places where we are not emotionally safe. We have to be emotionally safe for ourselves before we start pouring to other people out there. All right, let's move on to the next, and that is mental alignment. Mental alignment, it's the inner dialogue that you have with yourself. So what limiting beliefs are you telling yourself? What are you sabotaging about yourself? What are those thoughts of anxiety, or thoughts of peace, thoughts that are calm, or thoughts that give you self-doubt? What thoughts do you have in your mind? And those thoughts, we are in control of our thoughts. We are in control of our thoughts, and you are in control of your thoughts. You need to start focusing on pushing yourself on having positive thoughts in your mind. In case you have any negative thought, push it back and replace that with the positive thought. Because if you continue taking over the negative thought over and over and again, you are not growing yourself. What you are doing is that you are giving yourself those negative thoughts, and there are those negative thoughts that are going to show up in how you behave to other people around. So if you want to be this leveled up lady or this leveled up man, you need to start by thinking about your thoughts. What are you feeding your mind? And that one is linked to the intellectual alignment. We need to know, what are we feeding our minds? What are we scrolling when we are scrolling on social media? What are we feeding our minds? Who are we following? Who are we following? Because most of those things that happen in our environment, those are the things that are that are feeding our minds, and those are the same things that are actually enabling us to show up the way we are showing up. Because if you are always in a constant of scrolling, and you keep on comparing your life with that person on social media without knowing the other side of his or her life, you are going to start comparing yourself. You start comparing how your partner treats you to that person on social media. You start comparing how people in your workplace move because you have a specific thing that you are comparing that to. It's not bad to compare, but you need to know the level of comparison and how to do the positive comparison. If you're comparing from a point of I want to have like that, each and every time I want to have like that, but really you have not settled into yourself just to understand, what does Edda really like? What do I want in my relationship? Or how do I even receive love as an individual? These are things that you need to look at into yourself first before you really start thinking about the social media, because sometimes social media can be really toxic. So you need to be cognizant of that and ensure that you are actually thinking positive thoughts in yourself. The other thing that will make you know that you are in alignment is things like practicing mindfulness. I mentioned sitting still with your emotions. It's the same. Sit still with your thoughts. Sit still and ask yourself, when it comes to, if maybe you had an argument with somebody, how would my higher self react to this? How do I want to show up in the world? And if you constantly ask yourself these high level questions, you are going to get that you are growing as an individual, and not just sitting and waiting and scrolling and asking ChatGPT what to do without really asking yourself, what do I want to do about it? How do I feel about this? Because it always starts with us as individuals. So choose thoughts that actually support your growth and not thoughts that actually self sabotage your growth. Do not self sabotage yourself. The next thing I have tackled on intellectual development, and on intellectual development, here we're talking about things that actually grow yourself. So that is reading books, that is listening to people, that is listening to your mentors, and that looks for everyone, because you realize it looks different for everyone, sorry, because you realize that your intellectual capacity, you need to grow your mind, because even the Bible says that you have to renew your mind, and it is in the renewal of a man that you actually face growth. And you need to identify, are you how do you get to grow your mind? Is it by through coaching, or is it by listening? Is it by reading? What really helps you develop your intellectual capacity? So you need to know your strengths. So if you are really good with, let's say you enjoy movies, it's a matter of point where if you want to really want to develop yourself in a specific area, if you are good with movies and you understand through movies, is finding movies that can actually help you learn and understand a concept through that movie, instead of pushing yourself to be reading and you're not a reader. So try to identify your points of strength. So if you're a reader, focus on reading more. If you're a listening person, focus on listening more. Personally, for me, I am a listening person, so I prefer listening more than reading. But still, at this point, we can't remove reading, as I think. So it's also a matter of just accepting that definitely I am a listener, but still I can be able to read if I need to get a concept that is in a specific book. Right. So at this point, we have talked about the physical element, we have talked about the social element, we have talked about the intellectual, the mental, and the emotional. So next we are going to talk about the financial alignment, and how do we know that we are actually financially aligned? Financial alignment is very critical because here we are talking about the current and the future. You realize that all these other pillars we have been talking, it's mostly about the current self. But in financial alignment, we need to talk about the future as well. The thing is, with these other pillars, when you have identified your present self as you are comfortable in your present self, then the future automatically picks up your present self. But in financial alignment, it is different because once you, it's actually almost the same because once you are comfortable with your current future, with your current state, and you continuously do that, your future is also going to be safe. But you need to put more effort on the current in order to secure your future. All right. So, what does financial alignment looks like? Financial alignment is about looking at your current self. Are you comfortable with yourself financially where you are? Are you comfortable with yourself? So if your answer was no, then you need to do something. And the next question is, what do I need to do in order to see myself, in order to see my future self happy? It's a matter of asking yourself that question. What do you need to do in order to satisfy your future self? But we can't just look at the future self without looking at our present self. And that is why we have to start with where you are currently. So, financial alignment is a matter of looking at your finances at the moment. Understand where you are at the moment. And where you are at the moment does not reflect who you are in the future because you can be able to do different activities in between now and your future and change your future drastically. We have seen people who came from grass to grace within a period of like 5 years, 3 years. It's very possible if you just put activities in place to help you grow your future. So, financial alignment. What does financial alignment looks like? Financial alignment looks like things like investing, saving, budgeting, ensuring that you are comfortable in your current space and your future. So you need to look at all these things. And the other thing is giving, because I've realized it is in giving that we actually receive. You can't always be saving, investing, and you are not giving out there to people, or you are not paying tithes and you expect that money will continue coming to you, or you're not even giving to charity organizations or to charity to people who just need your help, and you expect that money will just be coming in. No. And money is energies, and so the energy that you give with is the energy that you receive with. So when you are giving, you give willingly, and when you'll be receiving, you will be receiving willingly, and people will be giving you willingly. So that is something else that we need to take care of. We need to ensure that even despite saving, budgeting, investing, we need to also add giving. We have to give and form skill sets that actually will enable you have another different sort of income. Because if you look at your life right now, you realize that maybe you're not comfortable with the financial your financial capacity right now. So the question is, what can I do in order to grow to a place where I am comfortable? That is looking at what you can do for yourself as an individual, and that means that you can be able to have skill sets that can be able to enable you grow your finances. If let's say you're good with content creation, start content creation. 3 5 years you will not be the same person. If you are good with singing, start singing and put your music out here. If you are good with let's say digital marketing, find people, build your skill in digital marketing, and find people that can be able to pay you to do digital marketing for them. You need to find a skill that you are good at and monetize it. And not just monetizing it, but learn and refine your skill and give value to people, because people will pay for value. All right. And finally, we are going to talk about the spiritual alignment. And spiritual alignment is different for everyone. In terms of spiritual alignment, you need to identify What is the higher being that you believe in? I believe in God, and I know that when it comes to my spirituality, alignment would look like reading the Bible, praying for myself, praying for other people, but also at the same time going to church. So you need to identify what spiritual alignment looks like for you. But what do you believe in? That is the main question that you need to ask yourself. What do you believe in? And how are you building that relationship with that higher being? So that is what you need to ask yourself. And alignment would be spiritual alignment would feel like I am comfortable in the space that I am with God, or I am comfortable because of how I give, or I am comfortable because of how these days I can be able to quote the Bible. And so those are the things that will show you that you are in alignment. And for sure, alignment doesn't mean that everything is perfect. You might be doing very well in your spirituality, very well in your mental and emotional uh, alignment. You are aligned in terms of your mental and emotional state, but maybe you are not doing well financially. So that is why I was saying you need to identify those areas that you are not really good at, and reduce the amount of energy that you are giving to the things that you are good at, and focus more on the things that you are not good at, so that you can be able to balance everything out. So ensure that at least all these 5 areas of your life are aligned, and you will definitely, it will be very easy for you to grow into your purpose when all these areas are aligned, compared to when you're just talking about financial growth and you're talking about financial spiritual growth, but your purpose is not really linked to all these things. But eventually, your purpose is actually linked to all these things, because it is all these things that make you as a whole individual, that make you want to grow and be able to give to other people. And that is literally what purpose is. So you need to identify within yourself what is an area among all these 5 pillars that you are good at. First of all, write it down. Write it down what you are good at. So if you are good at physical physical fitness, right, you're good with physical fitness. If you're good with your emotions and your mental state, right, that is going to be the thing that is going to help the other area of your weakness. Once you have written that down, the next thing I want you to do is write what you are, which area of your life you are struggling in. So if you are struggling with, let's say, finances, write finances down. Or if you're struggling with your spiritual journey, write spiritual down. And the next thing is you want to see what amount of time am I putting into my strengths that I need to reduce in order to put that into my area of weakness, so that we can be able to grow these areas of weaknesses and balance things out. And that is how balance literally comes. Sometimes it's not about everything being at par, because these are so many things for just one human being. These are just so many things. So you need to look at where is the imbalance, and bring where there is an imbalance, you bring it back, and then we have the balance. Yes, do that, and I hope that you can actually be able to start asking yourself. So if it is finances, what can I do in order to improve my finances? Or if that question is not helping, what skill set do I have that I am willing to refine and monetize my skill set? What is that area? And the good thing is that you can have that conversation with yourself today, and start doing today what you have said that you are going to do. And I hope that you actually get to do what you tell yourself, because as we are growing, as we are evolving, we want to be the best people to ourselves. So I hope that this episode was important to you, and that you have learned something. I am so passionate about this conversation, because I know we are struggling in these areas of our lives. And if we actually have more people having these such conversations, then it becomes easy for us to actually grow from each other, learn from each other. So let me know in the comment section, what area are you struggling with? What area are you, what is your area of strength? And let's get to have the conversation running. Also, if you need help in any of these areas, I have been able to bring experts together on connecthub.com. Check out the website. So we have different experts, and you can be able to just reach out to them, and they will be able to support you in any of these areas that I have talked about. And for sure, let's continue the conversation in the comment section. And until next time.